Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Volume 7, Chapter 1 of RWBY. Yeah, we are finally here. This came out this past weekend while I was at Youmacon. You're seeing this the week after, though, because that's how RWBY is done. We record it the week it releases, but only release the reaction here on YouTube a week later when it's released for everyone officially. As you can see here before we start, I got Weiss. I got Best Girl. I got this at Youmacon. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. I will. I'll put it on my shelf. I just want to show it off for everything. But yeah, I'm moving it around because it's hard to see with the glare. I had to get this. I had to. So last volume ended off with our team reaching Atlas. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I have seen the trailer, but I don't remember too much from it. I remember it looked like the streets were run rampant with crime, but I heard someone say that that might not actually be like the main city. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I know they get new outfits, most of which look really damn good. Ruby's is mostly the same, I think, just with different hair, and the clothes themselves are slightly different. Weiss looks like a fake character, but it works. It's fine. Yang's is definitely the best, by far. I adore Yang's new design. And Blake has shorter hair now. Now, I don't know if this is going to, if we're going to see the new designs right away, or if it's going to like, oh, they get the new designs in Atlas. Like Blake gets her hair cut and everything. I don't know how it's going to work. But I'm excited. I've been waiting very long for this. RWBY's one of my favorite shows, as you guys know. So yeah, this is going to be good. So some things I'm hoping to see. I definitely want to see more Ironwood, but I kind of expect us to. He's definitely going to be a bigger part going forward for at least this volume. Now at the very end of last volume, we saw Salem was about to send out her like flying monkeys and everything to handle things herself. I don't know exactly when that takes place though, because some parts of RWBY have been like, oh, like this is actually taking place weeks after this other storyline that you're seeing. So it's like, that might, when she's sending out the monkeys, that might actually be like weeks and weeks and all ahead of where Team RWBY and Team Junior are now. You get the idea. But yeah, I'm just hoping for the best for this volume. I know we probably won't get it, but I would love to see some characters like Coco and Velvet return. I think they're from Atlas. I might be wrong about that, but I think they are. Either way, I just want to see them return. I don't give a shit. Just make it happen somehow. We'll probably get more of Neo and Cinder. I don't know if they're going to have a major part to play. I just don't know. I still don't think that Neo is fully on Cinder's side, though. I still think that she's kind of just going along with her for the moment. And I really hope that they kind of move away from the entire hating on Ozpin thing, because that was one of the worst parts of last volume, because the entire hating on Ozpin thing made no sense. There's this one YouTuber named Jello Apocalypse. He has this video called he has this video series called This Is Basically, and it's like he has one for RWBY, and it's basically like he does this funny little animation style and explains like things about RWBY, like what's happening, and makes jokes about it and all. And one of the things he said in it, one of the things I did definitely agree with him on, is that they keep trying to paint Ozpin as morally gray, but have yet to have him do anything wrong. And it's so true. Ozpin has done nothing wrong. As I've stated this a lot in the last volume, but the only kind of thing you could even consider having him done wrong with is he hid it. He hid the truth. But that's honestly very minor, and there's very good reason for him to have hidden it. He he hasn't done anything really wrong. The fact that Crow and the others like kind of began treating him like shit and everything to the point where he kind of abandoned them and just went into like the deepest recesses of Oscar's mind, it's bullshit. It made no it just made no sense. It did not work, and it came across as honestly poorly written. It was definitely the worst part of the last volume, and really the only really bad part. Um, Now, last volume, we also got basic confirmation of Bumblebee. A lot of people still argue this. A lot of people say, oh, they didn't say it or they didn't kiss, so it doesn't count. Did it not count for Korrasami in The Legend of Korra? They didn't say it. They didn't kiss. All they did was go towards a spirit portal, turn, and look at each other. Yet that was the confirmation. It doesn't have to be super, like, in your face with it. In fact, I think it's better if it's not. Because if they just shove it in your face, it feels forced. It feels less genuine. The way they did it, with Blake and Yang's relationship, as well as just after Adam's death and everything, the way they would look at each other, the way they would hold each other's hands and everything, it was very, very obvious. Now, if they do kiss or anything or whatnot, I'd be fine with that. But I'm glad that the confirmation wasn't with that. In my eyes, like I said in the last volume, there is no other way to interpret their relationship at this point. The way, again, the way they look at each other, the way they hold each other's hands as they do, just everything that has been built up with the last volume with them, it can't be logically seen as anything other than romantic at this point. And here's the funny thing is people doubted this with Nora and Ren too. Like Nora and Ren weren't confirmed, so like until last volume. Despite it being a few volumes before when the actual confirmation happened, but people were like, "Oh, it's not actually confirmed they're together." You know, despite the fact that a slow rendition of Boop was playing when Ren grabbed onto Nora's hand as they were headed to safety after everything, after the entire emotional fight with Ren's massive character development. um, the fact that he grabbed her hand, she laid her head on his shoulder, the slow rendition of Boop. It's like everything was clearly telling you, and there were still some people who doubted that. And then last volume, of course, like Nora basically just straight out said that she and Ren are together. The thing is, with what's going on in the show and everything, they're not going to have a lot of downtime to really play into that relationship dynamic. So, in order to have these relationships still happen, they have to make them more subtle. They have to give you the small little hints and clues and just kind of showing and not telling in this way, because they don't have the time to put forth a lot into like that relationship otherwise. They probably wish they could, but yeah. But like I said, if they do confirm it at any point this season, like if they do like outright say they're together, or show them kiss or anything like that, I will be completely fine with it as long as again they don't make it seem too much. As long as they don't like just shove it in your faces a little too overblown like. Um, so yeah. um, we'll just have to see. But I'm excited nonetheless. I really hope that this volume goes well. I really hope that it just continues the trend with this series of each volume being better than the last. And I hope we get some more cool new stuff as well. I mean, new characters, new ideas, new semblances and stuff, new weapons. Um, and yeah, I just, one of the big things I really do want to see with this is a bigger delve into Weiss's relationship with her family. I mean, we did get that before, but considering where we are, I really want to see that gone into. I want to see Winter again. I want to see more Jacques and Whitley. I want to finally meet Weiss's mom because we never actually met her yet. I want to see the butler, whose name I cannot think of, who's voiced by J. Michael Tatum. I want to see him again. Um, yeah, I just want to see all this kind of stuff. And honestly, I've seen a comic of this, but I would love to see it in the show. I doubt it will happen, but I would love to. Like, I would love to see, like, Jacques trying to bring Weiss back one more time, trying to force her to come back, and then RWBY, like, standing in the way and, like, getting all protective. And not even necessarily in a shipping way, just in a very protective way over her friend. And Weiss or Yang and Blake can do the same thing as well. Because they would. They would very much do that for her. They made that very clear last season with the entire thing with oh, I can't think of her name either. The little old woman with the boot robot. You know who I'm talking about. Cordovan. That's it, Cordovan. And speaking of little ladies, I definitely want to see more going on with Maria training RWBY. I think that's going to be a big thing. What they did last season, I think it's going to be leading into more that becomes vastly important for these big battles that are coming up. So I definitely want to see more of that, and I just want to see more of Maria because she's hilarious and awesome. But yeah, there's just so much that they've set up that we got to continue on and get more info on and stuff. But yeah, hopefully just overall, this premiere is great. I have only heard 2 things about it going in, but they're not really spoilers. It's just like opinion things. One of which I've heard someone say on Twitter that they love the new opening, that it's one of the best of the series. I don't have any other info than that. They just said that they love it, which is very generic. So, and then someone else on Twitter shared something, and it's spoiler free, but it was something from someone else, and that other person was saying something along the lines of, if you ever liked if you like how Crow was portrayed in this volume so far, you were never a fan of Crow to begin with. And the person who shared this was arguing against this, but yeah, the person who originally tweeted that, I don't know the context behind that, obviously. I guess Crow's going to be portrayed differently than what this person likes. But Crow, from my perspective, has been growing and changing as a character in the past couple volumes. So, yeah, it's like, he's going to be different than, like, from when we first met him. And we have a new voice actor as Crow as well, Jason Liebrecht. So that's going to be interesting to hear how the voice is different. But yeah, those are the only things I really know going into this, other than, again, excuse me, what I know, the tiny bit that I know from the trailer, from what I remember of it, and just the general things I can assume. I'm just, I know it seems like I'm just pushing this off by making these pre-thoughts longer, but I'm just really, really excited for this, and we're just going to not waste any more time. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so there's a few things I definitely want to touch on here, and that I feel definitely need to be talked about. First off, Crow's voice actor, Jason Liebrecht. Um, One of my biggest concerns going into this volume was the entire thing with Crow's voice, because I am fully behind the idea that a character in an animated show, movie, game, etc. is their voice. That yes, the writing and everything is important, but a character is brought to life through the voice acting. None of the other stuff matters if the voice acting is going to be bad. Um, and for as terrible and shitty of a person as Vic Mignogna is, he's still a phenomenal voice actor who did an amazing job as Crow. Now, with him being fired from Rooster Teeth for good reason, we have Jason Liebrecht taking over, and yeah, it's just like, we know it's not going to quite be the same, just like with other vocal changes we've had in this series, such as with Mercury. It's just never going to have the same kind of impact to it. With Mercury, his character pretty much became like pointless. Like he hasn't really had a character since his voice actor got changed. It just kind of went downhill, and then he just kind of was in the background. Like even Emerald had more to do, and she didn't even have much to do. And her voice didn't even change. Um, but yeah, it's just like I just don't want to see Crow ruined in the same way, because I've always liked Crow and I like what they've been doing with him. Um, this, as he's portrayed here, going with what I talked about in the pre-thoughts about that one person who had shared the tweet from the other one, and the other person saying that if you like Crow, what they're doing with Crow in this volume so far, then you've never been a fan of Crow. This is what I expect Crow to be like. I mean, we saw his badass fighting side. We saw how cautious and like questioning he is about all of this going on in Atlas. It's completely like fair. This is where he was at the end of last volume and where his character has been going. I mean, yeah, when we were first introduced to his character, he was kind of this cocky badass who like cracked jokes and be drinking all the time. But then once you get to know his character and know his connection to Ozpin and everything and all, you start to see him evolve and everything as a character. Yes, he's more, to use the term in a honestly poorly handled way, as some people would put it, though, he's more emo. um, but considering everything that we've seen and everything that has been building with him, it makes sense for him to be this way. Honestly, if he were still that cocky badass like when we first met him, it would make no sense and it would feel completely forced and just poorly written. This is the only place he could be. So it's like, if you like Crow as he's portrayed in this first chapter of Volume 7, then yeah, you're just a fan of good character development and like where they've had his character going in the first place. But the next thing I have to talk about right away, Penny. Like, ever since Penny's quote-unquote death in Volume 3, it's always been, like, pretty much a big thing for the fandom that she could return. It's always been a big thing because it's like, she was a robot. She was built. Yes, she had a personality. Yes, she could generate her own aura. But all in all, she is a robot. And as long as, well, obviously, as we know now, specifically the core, but everyone was kind of saying as long as the important parts of her are still intact, she could be brought back. And it's, as we see here, that is what happens. So we meet Pietro, who is her father, her creator, who we saw like very, very briefly in the shadows a bit when Penny died. He's a really cool dude. He knows Maria. And yeah, so Penny is back. She has a different design, an updated design as well. A really cute one too, and it's awesome to see her in the new updated, upgraded art style and animation. She has all of her memories, and since those events, since she was brought back, she's just been protecting the city here. So it's great to see her reunite with everyone. The Mega Glomp to RWBY was fantastic. Yeah, it's wonderful to have her back. It's something we knew could happen and we really hoped would, and it's awesome to see it. Because that was my first thought. It's like when he mentioned he had a daughter and everything, and he recognized Team RWBY and all. It's like, wait, who's your daughter? And then I start to put together. It's like this guy is a technical mastermind. It's kind of implied that he's the one who created Yang's arm because he mentions you painted it. Um, and so it's like just instantly my mind went to, wait, is this Penny's father? And that's what it ended up being. When I saw the green lasers come in to help them with the fight against the Grimm, it's like I was on the verge of tears already at that point. And when she finally arrived, I cried. Um, because it's like, yeah, I loved Penny. Everyone loved Penny. It's like Penny's one of those characters you just can't hate. She's so wholesome, so genuine, so just beautiful. Not just physically beautiful, but like in terms of her personality and character, she is a beautiful person. Um, so even, and again, even though we knew this could happen and possibly would, it's still just really emotional and awesome to see. It's just ah. And it's like last season, last volume, they already had a big return with Neo that was already super epic and just really awesome. And now they do the same thing with Penny, but this time they do it right away in the first episode, which makes sense because she's in the opening. Let's talk about the opening too. So the opening has some interesting, more anime-like aesthetics to it, like with the parts that are color-coded and everything. Those are fantastic. I think those are it's just an amazing idea. The song itself, I don't know. I'll have to listen to it more to really get a good feel for it. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite opening song for RWBY. Um, I don't know where I would place it yet. The visuals overall in the opening, though, like seriously, massive step up. Like the visuals are phenomenal. Not just the color-coded stuff either. All of the visuals, all of the little bits of character moments we got in it, the symbolism that is clearly there with certain characters. And it I don't think we saw I don't think we saw anyone who was supposed to be Weiss's mom, so maybe I don't know, we won't get her in this volume. I don't know. But I liked like the part of the opening where they're like switching to their new outfits and all. Like that was really cool. I wonder exactly when we're going to get that. But moving on with other stuff about the episode. So at the end, Team RWBY and all our heroes are captured by the Ace Ops, Ace Operations and all, who are basically just massive rule enforcers. From what we gathered so far, it's like, okay, they see these unlicensed huntsmen using their weapons. We're taking you in. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts, no even chance to defend themselves. And it's like, so okay, so in Atlas, it's illegal for an unlicensed huntsman to do anything pretty much. And it kind of reminds me of My Hero Academia, because in that it's illegal for an unlicensed hero to use their quirk to attack anyone in battle and any of that kind of stuff, even if you're basically just protecting yourself. There was that was kind of made a big deal with the Stain arc, as well as the fact that they had to get the provisional licenses to be able to use their quirks to protect others under provisional circumstances. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. But either way, so they're all being taken in. We don't know yet who they're going to go see. It could be Ironwood, it could be Winter, both of whom were shown in this first episode, but we didn't actually see them. We saw like recorded messages from them. Um, and right now, our team aren't really sure either of them are a safe bet to go find in order to get help, which is why Maria led them to Pietro instead. Um, but yeah, it's like the opening shows we're going to get some more new characters and stuff, which is expected. A lot of new stuff coming up with this volume and with Atlas in general. And I'm excited. There was one moment that looked like Oscar was fighting Ironwood. Now that could just mean that could just like be more representative of like metaphor, like a difference in their values and their ideals and stuff. Or they could at some point in this volume literally fight, literally come head to head. I could honestly see either happening. I could. Now, I also completely understand where this is going currently with just all the drones going around, all the soldiers, the constant vigilance and everything. I understand Ironwood's position here. He is a military leader. He is a general. He is going to think in that way. So with everything that's happened, yeah, Atlas is going to become very militarized for the time being. And as it was put, he's paranoid right now. Scared is another word that you could use for it, but he is definitely paranoid. He's afraid that anything can and will happen, and so he's putting everything into hypervigilance to make sure nothing does. And he really is just trying to help. Ironwood is a good person. He is just trying to help. But he is going about it in a way that's a little much. And he's always been like this, as I said in the pre-thoughts, I believe. Ironwood, or maybe it was the reaction, either or. Ironwood's always been like this. It was probably a reaction. Yeah. He's always, that was kind of a thing when he was first introduced with him and Ozpin. Stop that, Piper. Because even Ozpin was noting how he was going a little too far. Glindo was noting it. Yeah, it's just like, that's kind of always been a thing he did, so it doesn't surprise me. I will be interested to see how he reacts to Oscar, though, like when they first meet. The Aesops were shown in the opening, so I assume they are going to be a notable role in the series, or at least in this volume. So there's a lot going on, and I'm really excited to see where they take it. I just feel like there's so many opportunities for this volume. And this first episode was great. I think it started off well with them reaching Atlas, checking it out, and the reuniting with Penny and everything. I think it's going to be a fantastic ride, and it has so much opportunity. So yeah, I'm hoping for the best going forward. As with this, not just as with this episode, but every episode, as you know, is going to be released a week after its first release, its Rooster Teeth first release. Every episode will be released the week that it comes out for everyone. Just because, it's what Rooster Teeth themselves want for reactors to do. I'm just going to go with it. So, yeah. So, obviously, you're seeing this when it's out for everyone. I'll be recording Chapter 2 probably around the same time you're seeing Chapter 1 come up. So, in those few days around that. And then, Chapter 2 will be out for you guys 1 week into the future from when you're seeing this. Yeah, you understand. You get the point. But yeah, so this first episode was fantastic. It was a great start. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here. So tell me down in the comments below what you thought. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you want to check out any of my social media links and more, please check them out over to the side. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave those down below. In the meantime, though, thank you so much once again for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.